Yeah, Lucero started in 1998. We played our first show at a little warehouse downtown Memphis across the street from the Lorraine Motel. And yeah, we started off as a four-piece with Brian Venable on guitar, John C. Stubblefield on bass, and Roy Berry on drums. And then me writing the songs and singing the songs, and also playing guitar. And so yeah, we played around Memphis for a couple years, finally saved enough money to buy a van, and bought a van, hit the road, and never looked back. So we've been touring for, the last 12 years or so. Over the years, I think we've done 8 records, and probably about 7 years ago, we added a keyboard player, Rick Steff, and a pedal steel player, Todd Bean. And then on the last 2 records, we added a 2-piece horn section. So yeah, it's an 8-piece band now. I was born and raised in Little Rock, Arkansas. And then I ended up following a girl to Memphis, and ended up moving there, and starting a band. And the girl's somewhere else now. She's gone. She's out of the girl's out of the picture, but the band is still around. So yeah, everybody else is pretty much from Memphis, and I've been in Memphis for 16 years now. So yeah, being from Memphis, Tennessee has been I think very important for the band, especially over the last couple of records. We've kind of started to accept where we're from and be a little more comfortable letting those influences show a little more. So with the horn section, you can do all that kind of Stax, soulful stuff. And with Sun Studios there, we just actually did a few songs at Sun just the other day, and I'd never played in Sun Studios before. I'd never recorded in Sun Studios. So yeah, Memphis is a special place. Yeah, and I think you can hear it in the music. I started playing in bands in Little Rock when I was about 14, I'd grown up on my dad's 45 collection, and he just like old school rock and roll, so a lot of Buddy Holly, Bill Haley and the Comets, Chuck Berry, the standards, the standard stuff. And so that was my first, that was the first music that I loved, and I still do. That's still part of what I do today. So I'd grown up on that, ended up getting I bought an acoustic guitar for $5 off a kid on the school bus, and that was my very first guitar. It's still at my mom's house, and I think it was like a Harmony or something. I'm not even sure what kind of guitar it was, but the back had been busted in and taped up with a bumper sticker. And so yeah, learned how to play Louie Louie. That was the first song I learned how to play, and then we kind of went from there. Ended up playing bass guitar in a bunch of bands in Arkansas for a while. And then when I moved to Memphis, I didn't know any guitar players, and I'd been writing some songs on the bass, but to actually get more serious about songwriting, I decided it was about time to learn how to play guitar. So I didn't actually learn to play guitar till I was about 19 or 20, not really. And it's debatable if I really know how to play it yet. I'm still working on it. It's a work in progress. But yeah, when I picked up the guitar for real, which is basically when Lucero started, I was learning Johnny Cash songs. Lucero started off being a more heavily country influenced band. We were playing slow, sad country songs. And now we're kind of a rock and roll band, but in the old days it was just, the idea was that you can take 3 simple chords and still make a very solid song out of a very simple elements. And that's kind of the philosophy that we started the band with. So yeah, I learned E minor, A, G and C and D, and yeah, started the band. And Brian Venable was learning to play guitar at the same time. And so yeah, in the early days, the two of us kind of made one competent guitar player. We were we were starting at the very bottom. We were starting with the very basic stuff. But yeah, over the years, yeah, I think we've gotten a little bit better. I don't know. We've been at it for a while. I went to the guitar shop and pretty much picked out the prettiest guitar I could find, or just one that I thought looked, you know, like a rock and roll guitar. And yeah, it was an Epiphone Dot, actually, is what it was. And so yeah, it looked like a Chuck Berry guitar to me. It was Sunburst. Yeah, it was a Sunburst, and yeah, I've been playing an Epiphone of some kind ever since. The guitars have a rough life on the road. They're not treated nicely, and so yeah, they can survive. They can take a beating. Yeah, that first Dot that I had, Sunburst, it might have gotten smashed on stage in Boston, but it finished the tour. I played it for the rest of the tour, and then ended up with a Sheridan 2 after that. So yeah, it's nice. It's nice knowing that the guitar can, you know, take a lick and keep on ticking. I've had a couple of Sheridans, and yeah, now I'm just playing the natural finish Sheridan, and yeah, that's all I used on Women in Work, which is the new record that just came out. But yeah, every record except the Attic tapes, my guitar parts have been on a Sheridan or a Dot. Yeah, we put out a new record called Women in Work on ATO Records in March, and we've been on a big U.S. tour supporting that record for the last few months. We recorded it in Memphis at Ardent Studios with a producer named Ted Hutt, and yeah, we kind of figured if we're making a record and we're shooting for a kind of a Memphis sound, kind of a hybrid between the soulfulness of Stax and the I don't know, the just rock and roll spirit of Sun, and trying to take those and kind of combine them with what we've always done and mix it all together. We figured there's no reason to leave Memphis to make that record. Memphis is exactly where it needs to be made, and Ardent's a great studio for that. We started writing songs for that, I don't know, about a year and a half ago. And actually the title track, Women in Work, was one of the first songs I wrote for the record. And I wrote it really quick. Usually it takes me a number of days or even months to finish a song. But this one, I just wrote it in a day. I wrote it in an hour at practice. And it's just a straightforward rock and roll song, boogie woogie piano, and just a cool little guitar lick. And rock and roll lyrics. There's nothing too emotionally devastating in that song. It's just pretty much straightforward rock and roll song. And so with that being the first song that I'd written, the rest of the record kind of went that direction as well. And so Women in Work ended up being a more fun record for us. It's a little more upbeat than some of the older stuff, but I don't know. That's just the kind of record I wanted to make this time around. So we'll make plenty more slow, sad songs in the future. There's plenty of time for that. But right now we're having fun playing the rock and roll. So yeah, no, it's fun. Usually at shows we're usually doing about a 2-hour set, and we're playing a little bit off of each record. And we're trying to play as many of the new songs as possible. So yeah, a little new stuff, a little old stuff. And yeah, you can get all that stuff on Lucero's website, which is luceromusic.com. And yeah, you Google Lucero, you'll find us pretty quickly.